Hi, and welcome to my Lopes Talk. My name is McCarthy-Ledezma, and I am here to present science teaching, traditional versus inquiry-based. First, we will take a look at the foundations of science teaching approaches. Our two approaches are traditional and inquiry-based. On traditional science instruction, it is more teacher-centered. The teacher provides the content, the teacher models the content, the teacher explains the content, and the teacher demonstrates it. The student is expected to recall the information. Their performance is measured on how they recall the facts and how they can repeat the demonstration that the teacher has done. On inquiry-based science instruction, it is student-centered. Students generate the explanations, the modeling, the design, and the tests. They discuss the observations and produce the consensus. It is a very question-driven investigation. The lesson centers around overarching questions. The teacher facilitates guiding the questions, but inevitably the students determine what they are testing for. For our next slide, we're going to go over the vignettes of the science lessons about the moon phases. Our first vignette is Ms. Sheridan's class. Both classes are learning about the phases of the moon. Ms. Sheridan's class is a very traditional learning approach. The students have to review facts prior to this new lesson, and then Ms. Sheridan asks one thing that the students already know about the moon. Then she explains the facts and descriptions. For the demonstration, Ms. Sheridan shows how the sunlight falls on the moon, and she shows the diagram board. She sets up the orbit. She tells the students the names of the phases, so the students aren't actually doing any research. For the students' work, Ms. Sheridan has designated certain groups to do certain phases of the moon. They don't get to explore, they have to mirror what is already there. For homework, she has them do flashcards of the moon phases. They make that based on what they have learned. Now we'll look at Miss Lee's class. Miss Lee is a very inquiry-based teacher. Prior to the lesson, the students were asking an overarching question about the sun, the moon, the stars, and how they move in the sky. They've been recording data over time, and they're putting that data to use. Ms. Lee facilitates by asking what they've discovered so far with their data, and she poses guiding questions, but she doesn't actually give them a question to answer specifically. The students then get to draw, and they still don't know why, or they can't agree as to why. So the demonstration, Ms. Lee suggests that they try to picture what's happening. She offers some props, and then the students work together. The students state what they're looking for, they collect the data, and they report on their explanation. And then they draw the representation. They can do it as a poster, and then they can go around the classroom to see if everyone has had the same answer. If you look at our two scenarios, on case 1, Ms. Sheridan has more bold because Ms. Sheridan is the one in charge. On Ms. Lee's class, the students are bolded more because the students are the ones facilitating the learning. These research-based strategies, we've got evidence-supported practices that help diverse learners. Hands-on activity is awesome. Using models and representations is great. Scaffolding and collaborating is great. And offering multimodal, it's different types of ways they can answer in constructivist theory and inquiry-based learning. Constructivism shapes inquiry practices with active knowledge construction. And this concept map kind of says they get the context, what they already know, what they learned socially from their past, and what their current knowledge is, The organization, that's what they're learning together, and then they get their answer. It helps build critical thinking skills. Oh, we want to be equitable and culturally relevant, so we blend the teaching model with both. Uh, we use tiered supports, culturally responsive practices, and multiple representative options. The teacher design lessons that integrate inquiry into the support, and this helps build critical thinking skills.